Let's talk about two related verbs and how to diagram them. So we have the imperative and the hortative verbs. Imperatives are pretty straightforward. So these are kind of action words where you're telling somebody to do something. You're commanding them. So think of things like shoot, right? Shoot, pass the sugar or something like that. Sing, if you're commanding somebody to sing a song. And in our example here, we have recite. Recite your memory work. Now, as you can see, there's no real subject in this sentence. If we say who or what is going to recite, well, it doesn't say in the sentence. So if you're diagramming this, what you do is you place the implied subject, you, on its own line between parentheses. And then the rest of the sentence is fairly straightforward. So we're going to write recite. Remember to capitalize this because it's our first word of the sentence. Recite work. There we go. And we just have to add our descriptions, or descriptors. So your and memory. All right. That's basically what you do for imperative verbs. Nothing too crazy there. Just make sure you put the you in parentheses as the implied subject. Then we also have hortative verbs. These are used to kind of urge somebody to do something, to give advice. Okay, so to give advice to somebody. But the only one that really matters in this instance is let, because let causes all kinds of problems for sentence diagramming. It's really hard to know what to do with this kind of sentence. And it's good to know that because sometimes you might think that diagramming is an exact science, and it isn't always. Different guidebooks have different suggestions, and we're going to follow what's a fairly common practice here, which is, again, to work with an implied subject. Okay, so as we diagram this then, we're going to put an X here in this case, and that's because it doesn't really tell us who is doing the letting. We can't really put you here, so we're just going to put X. And then we have our verb, so let. Okay, so there's our verb. And then we're going to treat us as the object here. And that's a bit weird because you might almost say, well, maybe us should be the subject. Isn't the us kind of doing the letting, right? It's almost like saying, shall we? Shall we do this? We shall. So it's just a very odd construction, but let's go with this pattern here. We're just going to treat us as the direct object. And then what follows afterwards, we're going to treat as an object complement. So it's going to point back to what we had before, us, and that's why we have this slanted line here. And in this case, we have work in peace. So let's put this thing on a pedestal here. Okay, so we're going to put work over here. And then in peace is a prepositional phrase, so we'll just have that kind of come off the side here. There we go. And you can see now that work in peace, all of this forms the object complement, which refers back to us. It's obviously not very satisfactory. It's a kind of makeshift solution here, and we're going to have all kinds of questions, right? As we said before, is not the real subject us, right? Should that not be our subject? We might also say, does let not work together with another verb, like let work or something like that? There's just a lot of questions here, but let's go with this basic pattern: implied subject, verb, direct object, and object complement. That's it for imperative and hortative verbs.